the number 1 overall pick. But only time will tell, because with his talents, guys like Darren Peterson or maybe Cameron Boozer, who are both in the field, feels like Adam Silver could announce anyone's name at number 1, which wasn't the case 23 years ago when that guy was drafted with the top pick in 2003. And all this time later, LeBron James's future is still hovering over the NBA. Which brings us to a developing story. Our senior writer, Anthony Slater, published an article on espn.com this morning detailing everything we know about a pivotal Golden State Warriors offseason. So, Slater, there's been plenty of rumblings about LeBron potentially teaming up with his longtime rival Steph Curry in the Bay. What can you tell us about that possibility?
Yeah, beyond it just, being it would be a massive story, right, if that happened, and there's an openness from the Warriors. It just makes roster sense, if LeBron James, were to really test unrestricted free agency, he very clearly would be the top wing on the board for a team like the Warriors that is very deprived at the wing, with Jimmy Butler out for a lot of next season, Moses Moody also. So the Warriors, again, are open for, to clear, if they need to, the $15.1 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception, and have a recruitment process that would include his friends, right? Steph Curry, Draymond Green, a coach, Steve Kerr, who coached him in the Olympics. But the reality is, I'm about to get to the bad news. $15.1 million is a huge pay cut for LeBron James. It's far less than the Lakers can pay him. And at this point, the intel I'm getting from the Warriors side is an expectation that LeBron James will ultimately go back to the Lakers. And as of now, they're kind of plotting out their summer, not necessarily expecting it to happen, but being open if LeBron James and the Lakers, don't come to terms.
All right, let's pause right there and bring in our front office insider, Bobby Marks. Bobby, what would a LeBron return to LA look like?
Well, I think it's a matter of how do the Lakers want to approach this as far as a team with cap space. And certainly you could do that with LeBron and then basically fill out the rest of the roster here. Let's say going into the offseason, $50 million in cap space. And let's say LeBron signs for 25. Now you go out and use that $25 million to fill the gaps with your roster. I think the one thing we can't dismiss is that the Lakers basically running this group back and acting as a team over the cap. Now that would give them the flexibility to use their $15 million non-tax mid-level exception. You can go out and make a trade now and use some of those future draft picks. That gives them probably a little bit more optionality, but I do think if they are going to be a cap space team, LeBron's number will determine how much flexibility they have to fill out the rest of that roster.
All right. Well, we talk future Hall of Famers. We got to bring in our own Hall of Famer here, Mark Spears, of course. So does an eventual LeBron return to the Lakers add up for you?
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that he's likely coming back. I am curious under this new Lakers regime, what the number is, though. Interesting to hear what Bobby had to say about it. And also I'm hearing that one of his old teammates from Cleveland, Kevin Love, could likely be joining the Lakers, too.
Oh, maybe that's a golf recruiting trip they're having right now?
Unrestricted free agent, rejoining his old buddy.
Yeah.
And so I could see that, those two guys being reunited there.
All right, interesting for sure. All right, I want to pivot back to Golden State. While you're here, Slater, what other options are the Warriors evaluating if LeBron does go back to LA?
Yeah, look, you're not hearing them on the Giannis talks like they were at the deadline. Kawhi Leonard is a guy also at the deadline that they sniffed around on. They felt there was an increased level of engagement from the Clippers, but ultimately a no from Steve Ballmer. And you get the sense now they're still getting a no from Steve Ballmer. So then you turn in-house. I expect Draymond Green, the team expects Draymond Green at this point likely to opt into his $27 million player option. There's interest in a reunion with Kristaps Porzingis, who they got with at the deadline. They have the 11th overall pick. And what's interesting about that, Trey Murphy, the New Orleans wing, they've shown a lot of interest in him in the past. They almost drafted him. They had been hearing from the Pelicans dating back to this past trade deadline, not available. It sounds like he is potentially more obtainable this time around, and the Warriors do have a very appealing trade chip in that 11th overall pick.
Slater's right. The Pelicans are open-minded to listening for Trey. Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver's first year with the franchise, they weren't picking up the phone. They are picking up the phone now, and I don't think they're shopping Trey, but I'm hearing that they're listening to offers for Trey. Zion, though, I'm hearing is not on the table. They expect him to be there long term. But if a team really is interested in Trey, I think Joe and Troy will pick up the phone and listen, and let's see if the Warriors call.
Bobby, is Trey Murphy gettable for Golden State?
Well, I think it's a matter of how do you get to the number. You know, Trey Murphy's making roughly around $27 million. You basically have to send out $20 million in salary, and certainly the 11th pick in the draft would have to be in play. And I think when you look at the roster, you're top heavy with Curry and Butler, and as Anthony said, Draymond's got that player option. If he opted in, then yes, he is trade eligible. Then after that, it's putting together the contracts, whether it be Brandon Podziemski, whether it be Moses Moody, whether it be Guy Santos. That would probably get you there with those three players. But as I said, it's a matter of making the math work as far as if a player like Trey Murphy is a player you want to go out and get.
Mark?
Joe Dumars' son is in the front office. He's also Draymond Green's former AAU teammate.
Okay.
And Joe Dumars has been a Draymond Green mentor for a long time, but I don't see that happening. I think the Pelicans would like a younger player, respectfully to Draymond.
Right. Understand. Now, let's end it here with Slater. If the Warriors do indeed keep their first-round pick, who are they considering selecting with that 11th overall selection?
Yeah, look, Mark mentioned the Pelicans need a younger player. The Warriors really need a younger player. And, you know, they're cycling through a bunch of prospects into their facility the last few weeks. Yaxel Lindenberg, the Michigan wing, came in last week, really impressed them. You know, I heard he crushed his workout. Now, but, you know, there's two questions with Yaxel and this idea of the Warriors drafting him at 11. Number one is his age. He's 24 years old. He's actually older than Jonathan Kuminga, you know, blast from the past for the Warriors. But also, the Warriors sitting at 11, there's a belief that some all out of that top 10. It's so low at the top. So they have like Braden is coming on Thursday, LeBron Philon, and guys that aren't coming in, Kingston Cummings, for example, Dave Mara, the Michigan center.
Which is very easy for him here. Looking at here for the Warriors.
I'm starting with the actual. And let's go back to the sound when he finished his workouts and what he had to say about potentially his role and what it would be like playing for the Warriors.
You see similarities. He's win guy, win all guy, you can say. And he's connected for a squad. You know, he makes the right read majority of the time. He plays super hard on defense, willing to take on the best on the other squad. So I definitely feel like I have a lot of similarities. Man, it'll be amazing. He provides so much gravity on the court that it really makes it super easy for other guys to score, other guys to just, showcase any ability that they have. So I was here, I'll be more like a, secondary ball handler. Whenever Steph is taking out the game, I'll be there to assist, maybe provide a little bit more offense or instant offense in a way.
Through the draft process a year ago, decided to come back to Michigan. And when he went back to Michigan, not only did he help the Wolverines win the national championship, he developed his game even further. I don't think his age is an issue at 24. I think the Warriors have proven they don't play a lot of their younger guys. They're in a window right now that's closing with Steph and Draymond. And you watch this videotape, you see a guy at 6'9" that has a great skill set offensively, can bring the ball up the floor, distribute the ball, can attack off the bounce. But more importantly, maybe his defense. He's got a 7'4" wingspan, can take up a lot of space, had the best plus minus in all of college basketball at over plus 31 points over the course of the season. He's a tremendous asset that you can come in, plug and play, a little bit older, understand the versatility, in particular at the defensive end of the floor, his ability to rebound, needs to continue to develop that outside shot. But his versatility and age, I actually think, helps the Warriors say, hey, we get a more polished player that can come in and help us now versus waiting for somebody to develop in a window that's starting to close with some of those older players that we've talked about already.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife with that kind of size, 6'9", 240 pounds. For a team that needs that kind of versatility, this makes a ton of sense for the Warriors. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Since we're 6 days away from the draft, why not take a look back at some of the best plays from some of the players to get selected with that 6th pick? All right, here we go. We begin. Brandon Roy, drafted 6th in 2006. How about that poster?
If he never got hurt,
Would have been special.
Hall of Famer if he never got hurt.
Speaking of Portland, Dame Dalla against the Lakers.
Oakland's finest.
Is there anybody more fun to watch when he first came to the league than Dame?
Oh, nobody. Last and most recently, Anthony Black. Woo! And we showed that yesterday, too, where he slammed it on the 4 Grizzlies.
People? That's a record.
Little bounce there. Some clutch time performances. We start with the 6th pick from 87, Kenny the Jet Smith.
You know, this whole basketball career thing has worked out pretty well for him.
Hit a record 7 threes in Game 1 of the 95 Finals. Then Josh Giddey, half quarter to beat the Lakers. Adam Amin.
Magic Giddey, good day, mate. Somewhere in Australia, Sydney, or Melbourne, Paul Hogan and somebody there, Crocodile Dundee. Oh, Lord.
I mentioned my guy Adam Amin on the call. What made that moment so special was another former 6th pick was a part of it, the late, great Stacey King, who you just heard there on the call. And then
Town business, baby.
Dane Dalla against the Thunder.
Town business.
Yep, over Paul George.
You know.
Who still believes that's a bad shot. How about this? Larry Bird was the 6th pick in 78. He did pretty good.
Greatest 6th pick ever.
And then this iconic shot followed his own miss
Larry Legend.
in the 81 Finals.
The young players don't know.
Oh,
They
They have no idea. And there's more here for Larry. How about the steal against the Pistons in the 87 Conference Finals?
Johnny Mo.
What I love most is the environment there was insane.
Yeah.
Feels very similar to the Knicks series.
All right, you've heard 3 is a magic number. Well, for us, it's 6. And that trip down memory lane just established. We're just 6 days away from the NBA draft, but that number will be significant on Tuesday as well. There have only been 6 players of Mexican descent to ever suit up in the NBA. Most recently, 6th Man of the Year runner-up Jaime Jaquez Jr. of the Miami Heat. But Jaime was born in California, not Mexico, a country that's home to over 30 million NBA fans and has never produced a first-round draft pick. That is until next week. Meet 19-year-old Kareem Lopez, a 6'8" projected lottery pick, who most recently played professionally for the New Zealand Breakers before making history at this year's draft. He sat down with our own Hall of Famer, Mark Spears.
I feel like a lot of NBA fans don't know who you are, but in a couple months they will certainly are. But just introduce yourself.
Kareem Lopez, Kareem. You like offense, then this one's for you.
Just doing the things that NBA scouts love to see.
Well, I'm Kareem Lopez. I'm 19 years old and I'm from Mexico.
Do you get a sense back in Mexico how excited people there are for this history that you're going to make? No one's Mexican has ever been drafted in the first round.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my hometown, I can feel, people are really excited. They're happy to, see me being close to achieving my goals and my dreams. Like for me, I always thought of it as a given that I was going to make the NBA, even though it's the craziest thing ever, especially coming from Mexico, right? It's only been, 6 players? And I hope, my story helps, people see that, you have to believe in yourself and we can do it.
Talk about your impact to your father, his impact since you were a little boy, what he's meant.
Well, my dad, obviously, from a basketball standpoint, he's the one that made me fall in love with the game, basically, He played pro ever since I was born. I can remember I was going to his practices, I was going to his game. He's my idol. He came with me to New Zealand, supporting a kid, to grow into a man and, follow his dreams.
Let's go, let's go. Bring your fire,
Australia, the league you played in, the NBL in recent years is Melo Ball, Josh Giddey, Sarr. Have you been inspired by what they did?
It's honestly, a big part of the reason why I went there, and it's a big part of the reason why players keep going there because it's a great program. It's producing talent.
You play in the